Welcome back to the channel, soap fans. Just when we all thought that Abe Carver and Theo Carver were finally going to get their happily ever after with the miraculous resurrection of Lexi Carver, the rug is being violently yanked right out from under them. And honestly, I am furious. I am heartbroken. And I know you guys are too. The sheer devastation that is about to hit Salem is going to change the canvas forever, and we need to unpack exactly how this impending tragedy is going to reshape the lives of Abe Carver, Lexi Carver, and the one woman who has been caught in the crossfire of this entire supernatural mess, Paulina Price, when E.J. DiMera and his resident mad scientist, Dr. Wilhelm Rolf, first brought Lexi Carver back from the dead after 15 long years. It felt like a fever dream. But the reality of her return has been incredibly messy, especially when it comes to Paulina Price. Lexi Carver has been ice cold toward Paulina since the very moment she opened her eyes. Can you believe it? Paulina Price, who fought so hard to build a beautiful, stable life with Abe Carver, was suddenly pushed aside like she was absolutely nothing. And the legal loophole, that was just cruel. Because Lexi Carver's death certificate was officially revoked by the state, Abe Carver and Paulina Price's marriage license was instantly invalidated. It was as if their entire love story was erased with the stroke of a pen. But here's the kicker. Despite Lexi Carver's icy demeanor, you have to look at the deep psychology behind it. Lexi Carver woke up in a world that had moved on without her. She was desperately clinging to the only anchor she had left, which was Abe Carver. Her coldness wasn't just malice. It was pure, unadulterated fear of being replaced. But that fear is now morphing into something far more terrifying. Peacock TV spoilers. We've been warning you that Dr. Wilhelm Rolf's science is never foolproof. Remember what happened with the Versavik serum in the past? History is repeating itself in the most gruesome way possible. Lexi Carver's terminal decline is officially in motion. We all saw the horrifying signs, the tremors, the weakness, the terrifying realization that the lab rats, given the exact same serum, were dropping dead from organ failure. Dr. Wilhelm Rolf tried to play God. He tried to refine the batch, giving Lexi Carver a second dose that temporarily masked the symptoms, but it was just a Band-Aid on a massive bullet wound. And now, the latest batch has completely failed. Dr. Wilhelm Rolf, being the absolute coward that he is, has fled Salem with the police hot on his trail, leaving Rita Leslie to deliver the fatal blow to E.J. DiMera. There is absolutely nothing more they can do. Lexi Carver is dying, and this time it is permanent. The psychological weight of this impending doom is staggering. Lexi Carver knows her time is rapidly running out. We all know that Nikki Crawford only signed on for a 6-month stint, so the writing has literally been on the wall. But the way Lexi Carver is handling this is breaking my heart into a million pieces. Instead of rushing to Abe Carver and Theo Carver to spend her final moments in their arms, she has chosen to carry this agonizing secret alone. Well, almost alone. She confided in Marlena Evans. Think about that for a second. Marlena Evans, who is already drowning in her own grief over losing John Black, is now forced to carry the devastating burden of knowing her dear friend is about to die again. Lexi Carver told Marlena Evans the truth because she is absolutely terrified of breaking Abe Carver and Theo Carver's hearts a second time. She is clinging to this fragile second chance at life, refusing to let go until her body forces her to. It's a tragic, poetic callback to her original death from a brain tumor 15 years ago. She tried to be strong then, and she is trying to be strong now. But biology doesn't care about bravery. The physical collapse is already happening. We just saw Lexi Carver pass out at the DiMera mansion, forcing a frantic E.J. DiMera to place her on the sofa while Rita Leslie reminded him of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf's grim prognosis. Lexi Carver will pass out more frequently until she simply doesn't wake up. And you won't believe what happens next. The summer promos have heavily hinted that Lexi Carver is going to suffer a massive, terrifying collapse right in front of Abe Carver and Theo Carver. Can you even imagine the sheer panic? One minute they are enjoying a family moment, and the next, the woman they just got back is dying in their arms. They will rush her to Salem University Hospital, but it will be too late for a cure. This is where the emotional explosion happens. Abe Carver, who has been a pillar of grace and morality for decades, is going to unleash a decade and a half of pure rage onto E.J. DiMera. And frankly, E.J. DiMera deserves every single ounce of it. I personally believe this is E.J. DiMera's most unforgivable sin. If you ask me, this was a huge mistake because this was never about E.J. DiMera loving his sister. This was about E.J. DiMera's massive, unchecked ego. This reminds me of what Stefano DiMera did back in the day, treating human lives like chess pieces on a board. E.J. DiMera wanted to prove he could conquer death just like his father, and he played God with Lexi Carver's soul and Abe Carver's heart. Now they are the ones who have to pay the ultimate price. I passionately hate E.J. DiMera for this. He dragged Lexi Carver out of a peaceful rest only to force her to endure the agony of dying all over again. And let's take a moment to defend Paulina Price. I absolutely love Paulina Price. She has been an absolute saint through this entire ordeal. She stepped aside, she sacrificed her own happiness, and she endured Lexi Carver's coldness because she loved Abe Carver enough to want him to be happy. Paulina Price has been treated like a second-class citizen in her own life, and she deserves so much better. This brings us to the ultimate tear-jerking climax of this storyline. As Lexi Carver lies in that hospital bed, pale, weak, and fully aware that there will be no third chance, she is going to have a massive epiphany. Lexi Carver remembers exactly what her first death did to Abe Carver. She knows that Abe Carver was a hollow shell of a man who grieved for 10 long years before he finally allowed himself to love again. He was trapped in a decade of mourning until Paulina Price brought the light back into his eyes. Lexi Carver is a practical, deeply loving woman at her core. She is not going to let the man she loves fall back into that abyss of despair. I am completely convinced that Lexi Carver is going to summon Paulina Price to her deathbed. Amazing! The emotional maturity required for that is just astounding. Imagine the power of that scene. The two Mrs. Carvers, face to face in a sterile hospital room with the clock ticking down on Lexi Carver's life. I predict Lexi Carver is going to offer a profound, tearful apology to Paulina Price. She will ask for forgiveness for the icy, dismissive way she treated her since her resurrection. Lexi Carver will finally acknowledge that Paulina Price is not a villain who stole her husband, but a savior who rescued Abe Carver from drowning in his own grief. It will be a moment of pure, raw sisterhood born out of shared tragedy. Lexi Carver knows that she cannot be there for Theo Carver as he navigates the rest of his adult life, but she can ensure that Abe Carver is not left alone in the dark. And then comes the ultimate deathbed request. Lexi Carver is going to look Paulina Price in the eye and beg her to take care of Abe Carver. She will demand that Paulina Price stay by Abe Carver's side to hold him tight when Lexi Carver finally crosses over. But she won't stop there. Lexi Carver is going to have a parallel conversation with Abe Carver himself. Even though Abe Carver will be sobbing, begging her not to say goodbyes, Lexi Carver will force him to listen. She will give Abe Carver her absolute unconditional blessing to return to Paulina Price. "Do not spend another 10 years mourning me," she will say. "Promise me you will go back to Paulina Price. Promise me you will live." That's crazy. It is going to be the most devastatingly beautiful moment on daytime television this year, a true testament to the legacy of the Carver family. The fallout from this is going to be monumental. Will Abe Carver be able to honor Lexi Carver's dying wish, or will the trauma of losing her twice completely break his mind? And what on earth is going to happen to E.J. DiMera when the entire town of Salem realizes he is responsible for this torturous emotional bloodbath? I want to hear from every single one of you down in the comments. Do you think E.J. DiMera should be thrown in prison for what he did to Lexi Carver, or is the guilt going to be punishment enough? And do you think Abe Carver and Paulina Price can ever truly heal from this? Drop your hottest takes below. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications for Peacock TV spoilers. We are your #1 source for all things Days of Our Lives, and we will be right here breaking down every single tear-stained moment. See you in the next video.